God really makes grace available. I had this unnursed fear deep down inside of me. This 1 year, I've seen so much how my heart has expanded, how my capacity has increased. God has allowed you to be a parent. He has equipped you for this journey. You only need to tap into that partnership with God. And you never can over pray. You probably can under pray, but you can never over pray. Watching over the baby that nothing will happen to the baby. How much vulnerability that comes with motherhood. You should be ready to make the hard decisions. It's putting in place variety of communication. Some pediatricians might paint something to you that will have you all worried. It's okay to cry. Crying is a good outlet. I even told my husband I wanted to go back to Nigeria. Once you have a baby, your life is never going to be the same. Yeah, true and not true. This past 1 year has also taught me kindness in a new life. Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome back to my channel. And special shout out to all May 2023 parents. Like, if you became a parent in May 2023, please come closer. Let us have a meeting in the comment section. Please identify yourself, because this video today we're going to be talking about the last 1 year. Guys, we did it. We did it. Yeah, by the grace of God, with the help of God, we did it. We survived the first 1 year. And honestly, thinking back on the last 1 year, it feels like it went by so fast. And at the same time, it feels like it was very, very slow. Like, there's a mix of emotions when I think about the past 1 year. And I thought to myself, I'm going to record a video about this because, you know, I know that I cannot be the only one that had all of these experiences. So I just want us to have a conversation to share what the 1 year has been like. If you're seeing my face for the first time, my name is Esther. Welcome to my channel. Yeah. But before we go into today's video, I want to use this opportunity to pray for everyone out there who is looking forward to having the gift of parenting, the gift of motherhood or fatherhood. I pray for you that the good Lord will remember you and come through for you in Jesus' name. It will bless you according to the desires of your heart. Amen. So in this video today, we're going to be talking about the last 1 year, and I'm going to be sharing about some of the lessons, tips, and highlights that became very real for me. Some of these things are things that we know we had heard before, but they became very real for me in the last 1 year. And honestly, I'm only going to share a few, because if we had to share everything that happened in the last 1 year, it probably wouldn't fit in a video. So the first thing that stood out for me in the past 1 year, that became more real to me, is how truly God makes grace available, is how God strengthens us. When I had my baby, somebody had said to me, like, don't worry, you'll be fine. God makes grace available, He makes strength available. But you know, sometimes when we hear words, it just feels like, oh, somebody's just talking. But when they become real to us, it's on another dimension. God really makes grace available. Like, before I had my baby, I used to think that I wasn't so much cut out for parenthood. I had this unnursed fear deep down inside of me, and I used to wonder how I would be as a parent. Would I know what to do? It was so bad that I didn't carry babies. Like, I used to have fears carrying like little babies. I could come greet you when you have a newborn, but I would not even offer to carry your baby. It's not out of anything else. It's just out of fear. I'm usually very scared, like, oh God, I could not carry them in the wrong way and something could happen to them. I used to think that they were so fragile, but this past 1 year, I've seen so much how my heart has expanded, how my capacity has increased. So it really became real to me, and I so much understood that, you know, grace is available. If God has allowed you to be a parent, He has equipped you for this journey. You only need to tap into that partnership with God. And on this, I want to say that one of the things that stood out for me, and I also realized more importantly, is the power of prayer. Prayer is a sword that you need. Like, you need the big prayers, you need the small prayers. There are times that you might not be able to carve out, like a lot of times you say, oh, you're praying, and you know, but you know, even in a little moment, like when you're doing things, probably changing a diaper, saying the little prayers, I've seen how they change things. So prayer, the power of prayer works. And I want to say that, you know, it's always good to pray. And you never can over pray. You probably can under pray, but you can never over pray. So I've realized that this journey is a journey of partnership with God. Honestly, you cannot do this thing by yourself. Another thing I want to say under this is like managing your anxiety. That's one thing I had to learn. I had to learn how to manage my emotions, manage my anxiety the right way. Because initially when we brought our baby home, I used to be very scared. Like, I became so worried that I couldn't even sleep. Like, guys, I'm not kidding you. For the first 2 weeks of being back at home, I did not sleep for 1 hour. Like, I was always watching the baby like, oh, is he awake? oh, is it? Even when the baby was asleep, and then they will tell you that when the baby is asleep, try to get your own nap. But for me, I couldn't even close my eyes. I'm like, but imagine me thinking I could watch over a baby. Is it by watching over the baby that nothing will happen to the baby? Imagine that. But I was just overwhelmed with emotion, coupled with the fact that I was even ailing. I had forgotten my own pain that needed me to even take care of myself. I was not nursing my pain. I was just focused on this little human being that I had been given to take care of. So, we need to manage our anxiety, our emotions, and realize that we are only caregivers. God is the ultimate person taking care of this baby. He is the one taking care of even us. One of the verses that became more real to me in line of this was, how the Bible said that except the Lord buildeth a house, they build in vain that buildeth it. So you can, except the Lord keep it, you cannot keep. Who are you? You can't even keep your own life. It is God that makes us wake and sleep. So all of that, I began to rest. I began to find rest in God, because in that, like I was explaining, in those first 2 weeks of my anxiety, somebody had said to me oh, see, you need to sleep and realize that God is the one to take care of this baby. Just hand over this baby to God. Release this baby to God. Understand that God is the one to take care of him. So it was not like I didn't know this thing, but that was a reminder that I needed. And in that moment, I found peace. I prayed. That's why I talked about the power of little prayers. I said a little prayer there in my heart, my God, I'm sorry I've been holding on too tightly like this. I've realized my errors. I'm handing over this baby to you. Please take care of this baby. Watch over this baby. And honestly, it was like a type of peace, like a heaven of peace was released upon me. I started feeling some peace in my heart. From there, I started to sleep. I slept like 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then my sleep became better. So manage your anxiety, parents. And if you're looking to become a new parent, watch out for that. Manage your emotions, manage your anxiety. Know that you can't do this thing by yourself. Hand this baby over to the one who has given him to you. Something else that has stood out for me in this past 1 year is how much vulnerability that comes with motherhood. Like, I remember discussing this with my friend in those early days, because, you never imagined that you could get to that level where you are so helpless because of a little human being. Like, this old human being has your entire heart, and you feel like you can give everything for this small human being. Like, motherhood for me reveals a side of you, a dimension of you. In fact, a dimension of love you never knew existed. And so I could relate to how my mom used to be able to do things. Then I'm like, and also this also made me realize how much God loves us. Because if we as human beings can be capable of that height of love, then how much more God that created us. So there are so many parts about the Bible where God expresses his love towards us that this past 1 year has made very, very real for me. Like, I look at my baby sometimes, I'm looking at all the things I'm thinking about his future, and immediately I remember God. Like, the Bible said he has the good plans for us. He has thoughts of good and not of evil for us. And that is the same thing for our children. Like, our children, as little as they have, the thoughts about them that we have are thoughts of good. We are constantly thinking about how to make them okay, how to be sure that they are. We are constantly worrying about all of those things. We as humans, the Bible said that if you as humans know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more your heavenly Father. So imagine all of that. Vulnerability is a level or height that I've never felt before, but we are grateful for it. And something along this line also is to enjoy the gift of motherhood. I know that a lot of times, like I mentioned, we get worried, we're like constantly worried about everything, but we should understand this privilege we've been given to be parents, treasure it, and appreciate the little moments. Even when we are down, when things are worrisome, like sometimes honestly, sometimes you can get worked up, like you're tired and everything, but even in those times, we need to appreciate this privilege that we've been given. Sometimes when I get worked up and overwhelmed, and I'm almost moving to that point where I'm beginning to complain, or I want to complain, I'm reminded immediately, and then I change my mood. I'm like, oh no, I can't complain, because I should understand that this is a privilege, that God has given me this opportunity to take care of like this one of his gifts. Like, who am I? So because of that, it helps me to change my mind, and then I'm able to do whatever I need to do. That does not mean that it is easy, but I'm able to find joy in what I'm doing. Something else I want to share that I have learned and really has helped us in this past 1 year is routines. Babies thrive on routine. Like, They thrive on routine, but they are also very, very flexible, and they change a lot. I've realized that sometimes your baby is like this today, but by tomorrow they are probably changing things up for you. So in the line of this is to say that as parents, we need to learn to be flexible and move as they move. Because one thing I've realized is that every day they are growing, their emotions are becoming more real. They are learning different kinds of emotions. They are learning different things about themselves. They are becoming more aware each day. So because of that, something they did yesterday might be okay for them today, and it might not be okay. But one thing I've seen that helps is like building routines. And building routines can be like a very hard decision. And in line of this, I want to say that you should be ready to make the hard decisions as in becoming a parent. Like, there are some decisions that are hard, and honestly there are a myriad of decisions to be made in the first day. Like, every day is a decision to be made. You are making decisions about, or even about diapers. You want to do disposable diapers, you want to do reusable diapers, or do you want to go to daycare now? Do you not want to do daycare? Even in terms of feeding, do you want to do, there are different feeding methods, different things to decide. You're constantly reading different things and all of that. So the hard decisions will come that you need to make. One of the hard decisions that we had to make was sleep training my baby. Initially, we thought it was not up to it. Like, no, he's too young to sleep by himself. He's too young. Another thing I realized related to this is that babies are much stronger than we give them credit for. Honest, for us, we're thinking, oh no, we couldn't do it. How would we manage and all of that? But it got to a time that we didn't have any choice. That was the only choice that we had to make, and we did it. And honestly, in 2 days, he adjusted. He adjusted, something that we were thinking, oh, how is it going to... Honestly, in 2 days, this baby adjusted. I'm like, whoa. See, we're thinking that, oh, no, this was going to happen, but now it's so cool. So sometimes those are decisions, are things that you need to make. And I've seen a lot of parents struggle with doing this as well. They feel like, oh, they are not ready for it. But I feel like the earlier you are able to put them through these things, they get used to it. And one of the things that I've realized also about babies is that they are like empty templates. It is what you put inside of them that becomes that is who they become. Like, if you don't want your baby to be dependent on sugar, then you don't want to be giving them very sugary things, especially at this age. Like, for us now, this first year, we've done no sugar. Salt is only when he eats from our plates. So I don't cook with salt, I don't cook with sugar, all of those things for him. And for him, that has helped him to build his taste bud. So he doesn't know what sugar is. He doesn't, like, unlike some of us that are already dependent on sugar, because that is how we were trained. So it's important that we train them from this early age, and that's why I talked about the power of routines. So routines are not just how their day goes, it's also about what they eat, how they play, things they are exposed to. All of those things are very important. So like, if there's a certain time you want your baby to go to bed every night, you need to start early, and that way they get used to it. And with that, by building routines inside of them, is like they begin to have an internal clock. And even before your routines, one thing I think I observed is that babies have an internal clock inside of them, because you realize that your baby that wakes up every night, they wake up almost around the same time. Like, if you feed them around the same time, almost around that same time every day, they are expecting that the food comes in. So routines help to make your life easier, and the earlier you adopt and embrace routines, the better for you. Another thing that I have realized in this last 1 year, and that has been very, very helpful, is putting in place variety and adopting varieties. I've realized that babies love variety. They get bored so fast. Like, these human beings get bored really fast. I don't know if it is general for everybody, but you can tell me in the comment section what you've observed. But for my baby, I've noticed that, especially like with toys, if you give him some toys, after a while he becomes very bored with it, and then he leaves it. He doesn't catch his attention anymore. He wants something else. So one thing that I've learned is to vary their toys. So if there's a toy you've gotten for them, or even a play style that you're adopting, and after a while you see that it is no longer doing what you want it to do, it's okay, take it away, bring something else, then you can go back to that other one later. So varying their activities, varying their toys, varying the food, yeah, all of those things help them. One of the things I love about variety for them is because it helps them have a wide exposure to a lot of things. For instance, in terms of like outings, rather than having your kids only be exposed to just you and your husband or your caregiver at home, it's okay to like take them out to different places, because that way they learn other parts of the world and they realize that, oh, the world does not revolve around just these three people. Like one of the things that made this stand out for me was when my baby was still much younger. I realized that it was just me and my husband that he was used to seeing, because we work from home, and then we usually did not go out other than going to grocery store. Most times when we take him out, that way he's sleeping, and then it was like he thought. So I noticed at the point he was not becoming very friendly to outsiders. I didn't like that, so we had to change that. So one of the things we were doing, sometimes I'll take walk with him. We'll go out to different places, and that way it became used to people. It became used to more sound and all of that. So it's important to introduce variety to them at this age, so that they understand that life is not just in a certain way, or these are not the only type of food to eat. So like food now, if you are giving them only some certain type of food, they begin to think that, oh, their taste board becomes probably limited around that side. But by giving them different variety, and you should honestly, even in introducing varieties, you want to like maintain balance so that you don't confuse them. They are still very young, but you want to vary in a way that is balanced. You don't want to do too much and you don't want to do too less. So in line of this, what I would say is like pay attention to your kids and sometimes follow their cues so that you don't overload them. Also, in line of information overload, the next point that stood out for me was avoiding information overload. You know how we've always been warned about always Googling things and how Google can scare you. Honestly, I had lots of those scares in this past 1 year. So I would say that manage how you use Google. It's okay to use Google sometimes, probably confirm some things, but avoid information overload. Work with your pediatrician, and in working with your pediatrician as well, you need to have a mind of your own and honestly have your own faith in God, because some pediatricians are better at communication than others. Some are better than others in terms of communication. Some pediatricians might paint something to you that will have you all worried over very little thing, and some will know how to express things to you in the right way. So you need to be able to manage your emotions. I remember when my baby was diagnosed with eczema, and his pediatrician had referred us to a dermatologist, and this guy was telling me about eczema. Honestly, the way he painted eczema to me, you would think he was talking about a disability. And it made me feel so bad. In fact, I came home that day, I was crying. I was drenched in a lot of tears. God, why would you do this to me? Why would you do this to me? But then I thought to myself, isn't it eczema that people used to have in Nigeria that a lot of people will not even bother doing anything? I'm like, eczema or dermatitis is something else. But we thank God today that we're ahead of that. And I'll probably share another video how we overcame eczema by the grace of God. So leave me a comment section. Leave me a comment below if you'd like to hear about that. Something else that I want to say is, honestly, especially this is for the women, it's okay to cry. I know a lot of times they tell us, don't cry, but for some of us, crying is a good outlet. So cry. Acknowledge your feelings. If you're overwhelmed, acknowledge that you're overwhelmed. And speak up, ask for help. I remember in the early days, I was really overwhelmed. I didn't even realize that I was tending towards postpartum depression. I would just be alone in my thoughts, and I'll be quiet. My husband was like, are you okay? What do you want? And honestly, I was so tired that I even told my husband I wanted to go back to Nigeria. I'm not joking, guys. I said, and me saying I wanted to go back to Nigeria, I was not kidding about it. Like, I was making plans in my head on how to go back to Nigeria. Like, no, I couldn't do it anymore. I was tired. I was tired. Like, it felt like the whole world was against me. That was how it felt for me. So, but I was able to work with my husband to get out of that season. So another thing in line of this is to say that women, please let us work with our spouses, work together with your spouse. And in line of this, you should understand that they are there to help. Accept that help. And honestly, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. If it is too much for even you and your husband, you can talk to him, and if you probably need to get an external help, speak up. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. There's no dignity in killing yourself to say, oh, you're a strong woman. Nobody's giving a word anyway. So it's okay to speak up, ask for help, acknowledge your feelings, and thank God we're able to walk through that season and things became better. So it's important to have a support system. And you know, that's another point I wanted to make, is for you to find a support system that works for you. That support system necessarily does not even have to be physical. They might not be close to you. They can be online or even far away. Like I had support system in some of my friends, even online communities that I joined. There are a lot of online communities now for mothers around the world. So you can join those communities to see what others are going through, learn from them. Like I joined a May 2023 baby group where mothers were sharing their experiences, and because all of us had our babies around the same period, it means that we're probably experiencing similar things. So you can find this community. At the end of this video, I'm going to share some helpful resources that I found in this last 1 year, so stick to the end for that. So find these online communities and ensure that you feel supported. Honestly, this support cannot be overemphasized. It's going to help. It's going to help so much. Another thing that I realized so much and that really helped me is the power of self-care. Honestly, one of the best gifts you can give to your baby is taking care of yourself. This is not me trying to sound cliche or anything. Like, it is so real, mothers. One of the things I'm grateful that I've been able to go back to now is having my nails done. Yeah, I know this is bad right now. I need to go fix it. But it's having my nails done. I used to enjoy it so much before I had my baby. I had to take a break after I had my baby, partly because there was no time and partly because I was worried about the effects of this on him. Like, I had so many fears. So because of that, I took a break over this. But I'm like, going to have my nails done is like a me time for me. Like sometimes when I go to the salon to have this done, it's like me having a me time. And sometimes when I look at my nails, it's something that makes me feel good. Like I love it so much. Taking time out sometimes even to go out with friends and just forgetting a little bit about your role as a mother really helps. It's like you're refilling yourself, you're re-energizing yourself, and you never like. This is so important. You don't want to be taking care of your child from a stressed place. If not, you're going to be overreacting over even very little things. Like sometimes you'll be tired and frustrated. And honestly, one of the things that I read that helped them was like they said, you know, when the baby is okay, you've checked that the baby is okay, the diaper is not wet, the baby is fed, and the baby is crying or fussy, you don't know what to do. It's okay to leave them in their crib sometimes. Just ensure that the environment is safe for them. Take a walk. You can probably leave them with the dad or somebody that you trust and just walk away. Honestly, get that fresh air. Get that fresh air. By the time you come back, you are a better mom, and then you are able to give that love that you have, that care that you want to give. You can give. Don't kill yourself. Don't get yourself burnt out. It's not going to help you, because if you get yourself stressed and you end up being depressed, you end up being sick, it's not going to help the baby. The baby needs you here to take care of them, to grow. So mothers especially, I know that we can get very guilty about this. Please take care of yourself. Another thing that, you know, stood out for me is how a baby changes your life forever. You know, we've heard this a lot, and they tell you, oh, once you have a baby, your life is never going to be the same. Yeah, true and not true. Some things will go back to being normal, but some things will never go back to being normal. Like now there's a whole human being that you need to always put in your plans. And for instance, we traveled with our baby when it was just like about 4 months. And that was the first time I realized, oh, more things have changed. Because we're traveling with him, a month ahead, I had needed to start planning the things that we would need. I had to buy some more things. I was packing his bag like about 3 or so weeks before the time we had to travel. Whereas for us, we could pack our bags in like 1 day or 2 to travel. And when we're eventually traveling, we carried an entire luggage just for this small human being. I was like, God. This is one of the things that changes about your life. Part of the things that change and then we got worked about is even our physical appearance, especially as mom. And I fell into this as well. I was worried about my body. I was always complaining about my protruded tummy. And my husband would be like, no, you can't do this to yourself. God, you just had a baby. You just had a baby. It's not even been 9 months. Calm down. But I was so worried. Like, no, I don't like how I look. Honestly, it got so bad that I was avoiding mirrors. I didn't like looking at myself in the mirror. I felt like, no, who is this? But so, mothers, please, let's not, overdo things. Some things will change. Like I've said, some things will go back to normal. And one of the things that will go back to normal with time is our physical appearance. So let's not overwork ourselves, especially in the first few months trying to lose all the weight. In the first few months, you are there to feed your baby. So if you need to eat to feed that baby, please eat. Your body will be okay. Your body will be okay. Eventually, you will get your time to go back to the weight loss diets that you want to do. But you know, those first few months are not the time for you to start going on diets or getting yourself worked up over your weight. No, some things will go back to normal, some things will not go back to normal. Some of the things that might go back to normal is probably some things that you put on hold, like I had to put some exams on hold. Now I'm getting back to all of those things. So give yourself time. It looks like it's far off, but it is closer than you realize. So give yourself some grace. This past 1 year has also taught me kindness in a new light, guys. I have been humbled. I have been humbled though. You know how we say, it can never be me, all of this is more. This last 1 year I've learned never to say never anything about anything. And you know, to give grace to other parents. All of us have different parenting styles. That somebody is doing something another way different from how you would do it does not make them a bad parent. Of course, everybody's trying to do what they think is best for their kids. So give some grace, be kind, because you know the world is just a very old style place. People judge other parents for doing screen time, some for doing no screen time. Be kind to other parents. So let's just round up with this last point, and that is for you to be open-minded. If you're a new parent, you've just had your baby, or you're pregnant and you're looking forward to parenthood, I want to say that be open-minded and be flexible. There's, you know, we try so much to prepare for parenthood, we try so much to prepare for motherhood, and we think that we're ready, but nobody is going to tell how things will change, how this journey is going to impact you or affect you. For instance, we can't even control our birthing experience. We all hope that we have a good one, but things can change, and if things change, what do? Do you kill yourself? Do you abandon the project? This journey is not a project that you can say, oh, I don't want. There's no refund policy. Be willing to go as things come. Because, for instance, let's talk about the birthing experience. Some have it good than others. And for those that have it good, they are probably able to quickly start taking care of their kids, while for others, they have to take time to heal. And you know, even while healing, like I mentioned before, it's not like you abandon your baby and you don't take care. You are healing, but you still need to take care of your baby. In that space, what do? You need to be open-minded. You need to, you know, just take things as they come. Do what you have to do. And that was why I talked about the place of support earlier. In this very stage, you need support. Don't think that, oh, this is all on you. Don't feel hopeless and dejected and feel like, oh, yeah, it might get very overwhelmed, but you need to find the right support to help you get out of that space and, you know, just do things to help you move forward. Also, in terms of your baby's growth, and you know, be open-minded to trying different things. So like for us, for instance, I think we introduced baby walkers a little bit early, and so we realized that it was not helping our baby to crawl. So one of the things we did was to take away the walker for a while, and in no time we realized that it was beginning to get a little bit independent and it started crawling. So you need to watch out for all these things and be sure that, you know, if you have tried one strategy, it is not working, then change it. You know, look at other ways, be open-minded, do some research, look at other ways of doing the same thing. You know, the important thing is to do what works. It's just like when some people, how they are so focused on breastfeeding. If breastfeeding is not working for you, do formula feeding. The important thing is that the baby is fed and healthy. Like for different milestones, they have this growth that they need to attain. Whatever gets your baby to that level. Some people wait for 6 months to do to start introducing solids. Some do 4 months. We started at 4 months. We asked this pediatrician and he said it was okay. The baby was meeting his growth milestones, but we realized that the breast milk was no longer filling him up. We started at 4 months and it worked for us because now he has a very good appetite. If starting early helped that, I don't know, but that's what worked for us. So be very open-minded and, you know, be willing to try different things that are good for your baby. All right, so I have said so much. We're going to close this video today here, and I want to hear from you guys as well. What has the past 1 year been like for you? What are the things that stood out for you that you would like to share with other parents and myself? I'd love to read from you. Please leave them in the comment section below. So until I come your way again next time, do take care, guys, and happy 1 year anniversary to my May 2023 parents. Shada!